So hello everyone, it is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace. I'm gonna get this to part 2 because I had to declutter one from each brand tag that was started by Betty Bean, aka Betty Jean here on YouTube. So I asked y'all in the comment section of the video I gave you all Friday if you wanted a part 2, because I didn't include like Pat McGrath and some other stuff that I have mounds of palettes from in my collection, and one of you all was like, yeah, okay, sure. So here we are filming part 2. If you're curious what's on my eyes right this second, this is the sleepover palette from Untittled Cosmetics. That video will actually be going up tomorrow. It is Saturday. That will be going up Sunday as a bonus video, because if you all don't know, I don't know who watches what, so I'm gonna tell you. And it's funny because in the last video I did like this, I told you all the same thing. I changed my uploading schedule, so I do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays now, so that way I don't have to try to rush through the weekend when things show up, try to film them all in one day and get everything up in one day. So we will be doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday here, and then you'll get bonus videos if something comes in that's really important that I feel the need to push out immediately. But I changed the time to, I believe I changed it to 5 or 7 o'clock. I believe it's 5 o'clock I changed it to, because I changed it to 1700 hours, and if I remember correctly, that's 5 o'clock. So our new upload schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 o'clock on this channel. Now let's get into this actual video. So I got a couple of affordable brands that I was using quite a bit. And then I got some indie stuff and some makeup artist brands, and I think an influencer brand, because I did an influencer brand in the last one. So let's get started. If I had to declutter, I would declutter the Fenty Beauty, what is this? I forgot the name of this collection. I think it's called High Time. No, that's High Times is the lightest one. This, I believe this was a high collection. I forgot the exactly name of this collection, but these palettes are so hard pressed. The mattes are hard pressed, and they have like majority of glitters instead of shimmers like you need. And then the shimmers are so hard pressed in the pan, they're very hard to get out. So if I had to declutter one, it would be this one in particular, because I feel like I could work with this little purple haze one a little bit better. But the one that has my favorite color story, of course, is the one that is the most difficult to use. This is the Girl Scout one, and y'all know this color story just spoke to my soul. When I saw it, I was like, yes, give it to me. And then it didn't want to work, and I felt disrespected. So yeah, this one was definitely a disappointment to me, and I would gladly get rid of it in my collection, because y'all see all these pressed glitters. There's only 2 shimmers in here. This one, and then this one at the top, and I had to dig the crap out of this to get it out, and then I had to dig the crap out of these mattes to get it. So I don't know if I got a faulty one, because I heard someone else talking about how wonderful the shadows were and how nice they glittered, and I was like, well, when did you buy yours? Because when I bought it, it was not it. It was not that. I believe her name is, she's friends with my girl Dionluvsmakeup. Her name is Erin. I forgot her last name. It starts with a C, but she was talking about how you feel like those palettes, and I was like, maybe I got some broken ones or some faulty ones, because to me they were impossible to work with, and I wasn't feeling it. Next, I have the Beauty Bay Sunset Horizons palette, because this is my least favorite Beauty Bay palette out of all. I feel like the colors in here were hard to blend, and since they had made so many tones like this, I feel like it would be easy just like with the other ones. I'm not really a warm tone person to begin with, so I mainly bought it for this one, but I thought like this would be nice, and you know they always have sales on their palettes. But this one is easily my least favorite one out of all the ones I own from them. I like the the Nikki Tutorials one just fine. I know a lot of people don't. I like that one just fine. And all the other ones I own, like New Romance, Wilderness, Book of Magic, and Age of the Optimist. I like all those. It's just this one I do not like. I don't feel like it's good quality as the other ones. So if I had to declutter one from Beauty Bay, this one gonna have to go. She got to go. She got to go. Like no. Next, now I just did a video on this brand, and I love this brand. I love every palette I have from this brand except this one. But in that video I said I love all the palettes from them, because I had forgot about this palette because it came in so late. I figured you all wouldn't care about the video, so I didn't actually make the video. Plus the mirror came broken in the shadows. I still ended up using it one time because no actual glass particles were in it. As you can see, the mirror is still fully intact. No glass particles came out because the plastic over it. But this is the Berlin 89 palette from Lethal Cosmetics. This is my least favorite Lethal palette. I just feel like it has a weird color story to it. I wanted to try that first multi-chrome though, and that was the first one they put in the palette, this one right here. So that's why I ended up buying it. But I just don't like the formula of this. I think this might be dual chrome too, because I'm looking at this way and it's gold, but when I turn it that way to the screen, I feel like it looks green. Anyway, this was my least favorite palette from them, just because I don't feel like it's a cohesive color story. I feel like it's a weird color story, and then that one multi-chrome I feel like doesn't work out well with everything going on in the palette. So I just feel like this was a weird color story. It had nothing to do with the formula. even though I feel like the form was a little bit different from what I remember. But if I had to get rid of the Lethal palette, this would have to be the one to go, just because, I don't know, it just wasn't, we just weren't vibing. The next brand I have to talk about is Colors Rain. So we all know what Colors Rain reformulated and how everybody's talking about how horrible it was. Now, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone else thought it was, but it wasn't great compared to what they do have. So I can understand people being so disappointed in it because it went so much lower than what they were used to having. But when they went, I think it was vegan, is what created the disaster that happened with the Juicy Boost. Now, in my video, I said I thought it was good, and it's fine compared to some other shadows I tried. Like, I would much rather try to use this than that Carity one I just started, the Cara Beauty one I just showed you. The Girl Scout one is awful, but at the same time, like, this shimmer, what is it? This Sweet Ruby one, oh my god, this shimmer is awful to use. I remember Colorful Camille saying the same thing in her video, how it's terrible to use. I'm like, yes, the other two shimmers are fine. And since the pink one was the one I was most excited about, needless to say, I was so disappointed when it didn't work out. I got the book style one. They had another one that was just huge and it went across, but I opted for this one. So I don't think this is as good as their original formula. When I first tried it, it seemed okay, and it wasn't as bad. Again, I still don't think it's as bad as everyone else tries to make it seem, but you know, it's not as good as they normally are, which is, I feel like, why people are disappointed and why people are less likely to try their new stuff now, just because it's like this was such a flop for them, considering how high they were riding on the Safari Rain and the Queen of Hearts palette and the Christmas one that they came out with. I forgot the name of it, but they had all those good things going for them, and it's just like they let everybody down with this one. So if I had to get rid of one, it'd be that one, because the two new ones I had that I gave you all the video on, I'll try to remember to link it up there, are actually really good quality compared to what that was, but it's still not up to the quality that they used to be at. So I feel like they're just like kind of somewhere in limbo. I don't know. Next I'm going to talk about Nabla. Now y'all know I love Nabla. I love collecting Nabla palettes. I did not buy the last one they came out with though. That just came out recently. I don't like the color story of that. I just think it's a weird layout. The last two palettes they've come out with, I haven't really been a fan of. Like, they came out with that one, then they came out with some all glitter ones, and then this is the one I would get rid of, which is the last cutie that they came out with. They came out with this one in the Midnight Blue. This is the, what's this? Analog palette. I don't really like this one at all. The only shade I like in here is this one right here, and I feel like I have a similar shade in the palette that I just used, which is the Sleepover palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. So it's like, this one just isn't me. It's warm tone, I don't like it. I don't like the cream to powder shadow that's in this, and then I just don't like the color story as a whole. Not to mention, I don't feel like the quality of this is as good as the other cutie palettes that they have. Now the blue one works just fine. I don't know what happened with this one and why it's so bad, but it is not good quality, and if I had to declutter a Nabla palette, this would be the first one on my list. So it has to go. Next, we're going to get into one of my favorite indie palettes. Favorite indie brands. Now y'all know I love Adepte Cosmetics. I love them so much. Whenever they come out with a palette, I'm usually on it. So because I wasn't on this palette when it first came out, I feel like you all should already know which palette I'm talking about. This is the, what is the Amunet New palette. I got the dark version, of course, because I am dark, but I just was not feeling this palette. It worked nice, it performed nice. It's just, I don't know what it is. The color story of this doesn't speak to me. I like this shade right here, but overall, I just feel like it didn't do that good for me. Like, the blue in here wasn't as dark as I was hoping it to be. I haven't picked it up since. I want to try the purple and a couple of other things to see if I can get a better look out of it. But just on first time using it, I wasn't really a fan of it either. I felt like it wasn't as good as the other Adepte shadows that she has. So I wasn't that impressed with this palette, and if I had to get rid of one, this one would have to go. Oh, she actually has a collab coming out with Heather Austin, which is one of Karen's friends. So I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. I want to hear her inspiration behind the palette and all that. I don't know if that video has come up yet, because I've only watched a couple of Heather Austin's videos, so I'm gonna have to go check on that when I get home after filming this with you all. But I am interested to see what her thought process was behind the palette, and I'll see if I'm going to get it or not. I saw it on Instagram, and it kind of reminds me of the one that Glaminatrix came out with, so I'm like, I don't know if I need two of the same. So I'm gonna watch the video and kind of collect my thoughts and then decide on that later, because I do love Adepte. But the last palette that Amunet, before the remastered Plain Jane, I wasn't a fan of, which is why it's in this video. Next, I love Dominique Cosmetics to death. I try to buy every single palette she comes out with, because I think she just does beautiful color stories, and I just love Kirsten, and her formula is really nice. But if I had to pick one to go, I know everybody would probably think it'd be Lemonade, because I complain about that palette all the time and how hard pressed it was. because the shimmers they were just ridiculously hard pressed. But I would actually get rid of Rustic Glam. I do not like this palette. I know my girl Serena Rose ended up buying this one because she said she liked the color story. That's the problem for me with this palette. I do not like this color story at all. Like, I am not a fan. You think I would be because it has 2 blues in it and a green, but it's like, I feel like I don't get cohesive looks out of this palette, or I have no idea where to start with this palette. I always feel like I should do like the blue and the pink, or the pink and the purple, or just like this blue and orange, or this and this. But it's like, to me, I don't know, I feel like I wanted more depth and inspiration on a fun, colorful story for the summertime, and I feel like this wasn't it. Like the Lemonade one, I feel like was perfect for summer, but this one I didn't really see as summer. I saw this more as like, I don't know, like a weird fall palette or something. I don't know what season I saw this palette working in, but I just don't like the color story of this. It has nothing to do with the quality of it. I just feel like she has better color stories than this, and this one is lacking for me, which is why if I had to get rid of one of Kirsten's palettes, this would be it. I would literally keep all the other ones. I'm so sad she got rid of my Celestial Storm and she's not bringing it back, but you know, that's how it goes. But that one would have to go. Next, when it comes to Makeup by Mario, I'd have to get rid of the Glam Quads and the shade Rosy Glam. I do not like this one. Now, I know you expected me to get rid of the new one, but the new one's quality is actually better than this one. The quality of this one I didn't like because this brown turned into this weird shade on me when I went to go blend it out. It was weird, horrible looking shade, and since it's the only matte in here, it's like, what else am I supposed to use when it comes to using this quad? So to me, this is a glorified shimmer quad, because if this shade isn't working for someone with my skin tone and the rest of these things in here is shimmer, what am I supposed to do with this? He already has 2 other shimmer palettes, so it's like this one is supposed to have a matte in it in order for me to work. So I could just keep the other 2 shimmer palettes and just get rid of this, because the other quads have mattes that work for me just fine. So if I had to get rid of one, it would definitely be this one, because it did weird stuff with that brown color, and I love purples, but like, I need more than shimmers to complete a look. I'm not a girl who's putting shimmers in the crease. We're not about that life here. So now we're gonna get into the high-end and the luxury stuff. So remember, I did Natasha Denona last time, so we're gonna do Natasha Denona again, because she has middies and she has minis. So I'm putting a mini in this one, and it's the Mini Metropolis. I just didn't think this was gonna give a whole bunch of looks, and with her other minis, I like them better. I feel like this would pair well with the Star palette, but that's the thing, I have to buy another $25 mini palette in order to be able to get any kind of cohesive look that I would like, because this brown isn't dark enough for some of my skin tone. We've been through this a million times. I'm not using this shade, so it's already 2 tones out of here for me. This shade isn't going to be deep enough for somebody like me, so to me this is kind of a pointless quad if you have my skin tone, because none of this is really too much of anything. I'm sure I can find a single shadow in my collection that's this color. Who doesn't have a mean of a gold? Mother wants to put gold and everything, so I could just use a Pat McGrath palette and call it a day. Mother has a quad with a shade that's similar to this. I mean, it's more bluer than green than this, so it's like, this to me as a whole just wasn't worth it in my personal opinion. I didn't get the Metropolis palette, and I hear everybody talking about it, but that was at a time when I wasn't really familiar and liking her cream and powder formula, but she has improved on it, so I wouldn't mind having it, but they don't sell it anymore, so oh well, my world isn't going to come to an end because of it. But getting this as an alternative was not impressive to me, so this little mini could go. All the other ones can stay because I like them just fine, but this is my least favorite one, so we would have to go. Now we're gonna get to Miss Charlotte Tilbury, because I think I'm Teresa's dead, so I have to go Charlotte Tilbury. No, but I have the Dazzling Diamonds Luxury Palette of Pops. This is supposed to be her version of Mother's like sparkly special shades, and this is not it. Like, I feel like it's hard pressing the paint. It doesn't give off a lot of color, and it just was not, for the price she's charging for this, is not worth it. Just go get one of Mother's special quads with the special shades and that she did in what was like 2018 or 19 or whatever. Those are a million times better than this, and you get more product in them from what I see just looking at the pan sizes, because this one is awfully small and Mother's are bigger, so like, at least in my mindset, it's more in there than it is in here. Plus those are more reflective and sparkly, and this is just, I don't know, to me she always does soft washes of color, where Mother's like bam pow sparkling in your face, and that's what I want. So that's another reason I'm not a fan of this. If I had to pick a big palette, I would pick the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, the long ones that are 75 bucks. I was debating on bringing it with me or not, but I was like, I'll just stick to the little quad. But if I had to pick from her bigger ones, I would pick Pillow Talk, because you got to think the majority of Pillow Talk is on the lighter end of the spectrum, so I could only use half the palette to begin with. As for $75, I need to be able to use a whole palette, girl. You funny. For $75, you real funny if you think I'm gonna pay that. And I can use the whole palette. I'm trying it, and I'm not with it. So the last person we're gonna talk about is, of course, Mother, because I have to end the video with a bang. So when it comes to Pat McGrath and her like quads, I'm sorry, but I have to pick Flora Fantasia. I'm not with it. It was just a whole no ma'am. The only reason I keep it is because I'm a Mother fan and I need to like be able to have a variety of her stuff in my collection, because that's one of the most watched videos I usually have. But as you can see, the one matte in here I can't use. Then the shimmers weren't anything to write home about. They weren't that great. Like this weird one right here, and then this super light one right here I can't use for anything other than the dust over. So I still have to go into one of her regular size palettes just to be able to use this as a companion palette, and this thing is like $56, something like that. So no, mother, no. I mean, I feel like this would be good to go with Utopian Dream because it has that ethereal vibe to it. So I would pair this with that palette. But otherwise, I wouldn't just buy this on its own, which is why I feel like it was one of the things that went on sale first, just because it's like, it's not giving. I love Mother, but that's not giving. Like, you should have gave us maybe one of those dark browns that you like to put in all the quads instead of giving us colorful mattes like we asked you for. Because that light ashy shade along with those just it's not working for me. No, it's not working. And then the big mothership I chose was I forgot what number it is. Which number is this one? I don't know. The point is, this is, 6, Midnight Sun. I don't like Midnight Sun. I think Midnight Sun is bad. I feel like a lot of people agree with me though, because it is the one that goes on sale the most in my personal opinion, at least when I look at her website. I think I got this for $80 and that's the only reason I have it, because I'm just not a fan of this. To me, it's more like I want to be like earthy toned type situation, and I'm just not a huge fan of the colors that go along with it. Like the purple is okay, and maybe sparkly shade, but like the rest of this palette I don't really care about. See, if you cover this up, this is quite a boring earthy palette. And the pop of purple and like this shifting green champagne shades, I feel like it's what's supposed to save the palette, but for me it still doesn't do it. So it's like, this is my least reach for a Pat McGrath palette, but because I'm a Pat McGrath connoisseur, I own it. The only one I don't own in Mothership is number 2. That's the one with the green one in it. I'll eventually get it and add it to my collection one day when I find it for a good deal, but it's like the ones that I'm not really concerned about or care about that much, I don't buy a regular price. The completionist in me wants me to have them, but I'm like, I just can't for that price point. So I refuse to do it. So those are part 2 of if I had to declutter one from each brand. So technically with some brands I did more than one, like Natasha. This is my second go around with her, and I just gave y'all 2 from Mother. But since she has 2 different sizes, I feel like it would be okay, and you'd be interested in each size what I wouldn't like. So I probably should have brought a midi for Natasha too. So we'll just say the Zendo for Natasha and come to the midi, just because y'all know the formula of the shimmers and that wasn't that great. I didn't have a problem with the mattes. It's just the shimmers weren't giving the sparkle and pizzazz that she normally does with the other palettes she's had in the past, which is why I wasn't impressed with that one. It had nothing to do with the mattes. The mattes were fine with me. So that's it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. Let me know down below, do you have any of these, and do you feel the way I do? Like, if I had to get rid of something, like if somebody was forcing me to get rid of things in my makeup collection, would you get rid of the ones I talked about? Because I feel like it's a general consensus among the community, and the majority of the things I talked about are things that people would get rid of out of their collection based upon like the higher end things that I talked about and the luxury things. But let me know down below what you think. Like I say, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.